Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about how Deen the Great stole the show and had the performance of the night, proving a lot of people wrong, including myself, how he did it and what's next for him. So I'm going to backtrack all the way to the first fight because I rewatched it a couple days ago, just a day before the Primecard, because I was trying to show my girl how the first fight went down. I was just trying to hype her up, basically. I was trying to give her a background on Deen and Walid and why they hate each other and why they've been beefing and all the drama and blase. And it worked, she got hyped. She bought in the drama and she actually ended up watching the whole Primecard by herself because I watched it with my homies, but enough of that. And I'm not gonna lie, I remember the whole fight wrong because initially, or from what I remember, Walid was destroying Deen, like totally and utterly destroying Deen. I thought he washed Deen, but as I rewatched it, Deen actually had a lot of moments. He wasn't getting embarrassed, he was just getting outboxed a little bit. Walid was just a little quicker to the punch, and I believe that Deen may have underestimated Walid going into the fight, and he paid the price and he got dropped twice. Damn, that's a bar right there. But he got his bearings under him and he knocked Walid out, which was amazing still. But yeah, nevertheless, he was still in the fight. He was just losing in the cards, but he wasn't wobbled like crazy. Like he was probably stunned, but I don't think he was badly hurt to the point where he was about to get knocked out. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the first fight. So that leads me to my prediction video, where I actually chose Walid to beat Deen, despite Deen being my favorite influencer boxer aside from KSI. I just thought Walid has been locked in for a whole year, man. I thought he was hungrier. I thought he wanted it more than Deen. He's been begging for this rematch and he's been getting disrespected by Deen and over for a whole year. I just thought that he finally had his opportunity to put his hands on Deen and get his revenge. And I thought that he was gonna beat Deen this time around. Even in the press conference, he was calm and controlled, which is not the usual Walid demeanor. You know what I mean? Same thing in the weigh-ins. Like, this guy was dialed in. He was focused. He looked like he could not be fazed by anybody or anything. He looked incredible too, man. Like, he looked insane. Did y'all see him? Jeez. And I'm not gonna lie, seeing that quiet Walid, it actually had me shook. Because I'm still a fan of Deen, I wanted Deen to win despite me thinking that Walid would beat him. I still wanted Deen to win, so that had me shook. He looked mentally locked in. He looked like nothing could faze him. But, on fight night, I don't know what happened. He was slow. He was lethargic. He looked puzzled. And he just had no answers for Deen. But Deen... Yo, listen, I know it's gonna sound ridiculous and this is definitely a hyperbolic statement, but he looked like the reincarnation of Muhammad Ali, in the sense that he was literally floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. He was zigging and zagging all around Walid, and he kept setting Walid up with the pullback counter right or the shoulder roll right hand, and Walid kept falling for the same thing over and over again. Yo, Deen's combination punching was insane. He knew when to unload, but he didn't gas himself out. He knew when to stay in the pocket and when to get out of the ropes and when to exchange and stand his ground. His right hand couldn't miss all night. And his defense, his reaction time. Deen put in the work in this training camp for sure, and it showed. He destroyed Walid. I'm not gonna lie, he ate him up. He pieced him up. And in the post-fight interviews, which, by the way, you guys should watch Deen's interviews, They are so funny. They're so entertaining. I know he gets a lot of hate because of how he carries himself and what he says, but y'all need to realize it's all for show. He's just trying to get his name out there. He's trying to be entertaining, but I digress. He said he dislocated his left shoulder and broke his right hand during the fight, and after re-watching some clips, he did go southpaw for a bit in the third and fourth round, which I completely missed when I was watching it live because I was with my homies and I was just hyped because he was eating Walid up. Y'all gotta realize that means he fought one-handed. He fought one-armed for 2 or 3 rounds, and he still looked that good. That is insane. Though it was an amazing performance, it was definitely not a perfect one. There were scary moments for sure, especially in the last minute of the fight where, you know, Walid had a little bit of a run to close off the show. But as a Deen fan, I wasn't too worried just because we've seen him get up multiple times after getting knocked down. And in this instance, he still had his legs beneath him and he was still bobbing and weaving the punches, you know. But all in all, an awesome performance by Deen for sure. But before I move on to the next subject, I just want to give Walid his respects, because though he didn't perform like we thought he would, if we could say anything positive about him, is that he has one hell of a chin and he has a heart of a lion. He is a warrior through and through, man. There were many moments where I thought they should have thrown in the towel or the ref should have stopped the fight, because, you know, he was on unstable legs for long periods of time and he kept getting battered, but he kept getting up and coming forward. He wanted this fight, and he even managed to rally at the end, but, you know, obviously he came out short. He came up short, but nothing but respect to Walid. He'd run this division if Deen didn't exist. Now, what's next for Deen? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't know. It's kind of hard to follow up a rematch with Walid, and the division itself is small. There are barely any players, so I couldn't really come up with a lot of names, but I guess you could put him up there against Uncle Pizza or Spartan J. You know, I know these are pretty weak options, but, you know, they're both undefeated. But there are two other names that are pretty good, and those are Adam Saleh or Jose Aldo. You know, for Adam, it would be his intro fight in the Misfits universe. He's pretty damn good himself. Deen has been calling him out, and he fought to a draw with Walid, so that one kind of makes sense. I think that's a fight people would watch and wanna see. But Jose Aldo, you know, that's a high profile fight. You know, it's against a UFC legend. It'll pull in the UFC crowd, and I'm sure it'll bring in money. So these are the options I got for y'all. But I know these fights aren't groundbreaking, so please help me out. You know, drop a comment down below on who you think Deen should fight next. And before I wrap this up, I just want to talk to the Deen haters out there. And I promise I'm not trying to come at y'all. I'm not trying to spread negativity or hate. I just want y'all to know that you can hate Deen. You can dislike Deen, right? It's all part of the game. It happens. But please don't let that stop you from respecting what he's done. You know, I'm not too sure on this, so don't kill me. But from what I've seen online, I believe he was a major underdog in this fight. You know, a lot of people thought he got lucky in the first fight. He barely escaped with a win. A lot of people thought he would get starched in this fight and that he would get humbled. But, you know, none of that happened. And in fact, he won in impressive fashion. So, you know, if anything, just respect what he's done. He is a great competitor. You gotta admit it. He proved a lot of people wrong, including myself. But that wraps it up. You know, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and once again, please drop a comment on who you think he should fight next, and tell me what you thought of his performance. Leave a like, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.